Hello everybody, and welcome to Battleborn. Today we're going to be doing what I like to call a little bit of a character overview. And over the next month or two, we're going to be taking a small overview of each of the characters here in Battleborn. Today we're going to be taking a look at Galilea, a very up-close and personal character that has a wide variety of abilities to pretty much destroy whatever's in front of her, while also mitigating a lot of damage. I will admit Galilea is a little bit stronger than she should be, because she doesn't really have too much in the way of downsides, so she's going to receive a few little minor tweaks there to kind of make her a little bit, well, a little bit more balanced. But let's go ahead and give you a small overview of what you can expect from this character. Now we're going to be going through the Void's Edge on normal for this overview. Occasionally we'll also be doing advanced, but I'm waiting. They're gonna be changing advanced to be a little bit more difficult. But anyway, let's go ahead and go over the overview of this character. So your level 1 ability, you're gonna have the choice between Herald's Return, Vortex, or Song of the Relentless. And we're gonna go ahead and take Vortex. Now, Vortex is an ability that you get by leveling up the character. It's what's called a mutation. And mutations will be awarded to you as you play the character. I believe you get one at 3, 6, 9, I want to say. No, 3, 6, 7, 9 or something like that. 3, 5, 7, 9, and then 12. You get them as you play the character, and they'll give you a different option for leveling up your character. And these mutations can sometimes have a massive effect on how you play the character. For example, Galilea has an ability called Anti-Hero, which is a absolutely crazy ability that increases her attack speed by a huge margin. Now at level 2, you're going to have either Skilled Throw or Mark of the Feeble. Now, considering that nothing really heals here in the PvE content, we're going to go ahead and take the extra, the bouncing shield. But Galilea has the special ability of being one of the only anti-healers. And by that I mean she can completely negate a person's healing if she wants to. So being able to lock down healers is a very useful thing to have here. We're going to go ahead and open up a chest here, so that way hopefully we can hit level 4. Now we're going to go ahead and activate some gear here. We're going to go ahead and take the Corroded Violent Exoskeleton Graft. That is a mouthful. That is definitely a mouthful there. So at level 3, you can expect It's Dangerous to Go Alone, which is one of her rather game-changing skills. At level 3, she gets the ability to shoot out a small projectile whenever she is at full health. Similar to, Link and his Master Sword. So, it's dangerous to go alone. You get where it's going. You get the idea, the joke, the whatever. But anyway, once you have that ability, it only works when you are at full health, but the damage increase that you get from it is huge, and will be able to give you a little bit of a ranged ability and absolutely destroy at close range. We're going to go ahead and take their second gear, increasing our skill damage and our attack speed a little bit more. So let's go ahead and go over the skills that you can expect for Galilea. On her left, you've got the Shield Throw, which can be used to stun enemies and deal a small amount of damage. On the left, on the right, you've got Desecration, which right now doesn't really do too much outside of increase the enemy's damage taken, which can be a good thing, but it's a very minor ability. Desecration gets a lot better as you level up Galilea, being able to silence enemies, pull you into them, or being able to just heal yourself and deal damage. Now that we've leveled up, we're at full health, and we've got Chaotic Confusion, Bleak Quiet, or Forsaken Grounds. Now we're going to go ahead and take Forsaken Grounds because silence isn't really that useful considering we are in a PvE environment, and not all the skills that Galilea has are suited for PvE. So you can kind of see here just how much damage that ability did right there. Being able to just deal a little bit of extra damage on each swing is pretty crazy. And if I had to take a guess, that one of the balance changes she's going to get is that the shock ability from her sword is not going to work at point blank range. Because as it stands right now, you can deal a lot of damage. And we're actually going to kind of show this off with the boss battle that we are about to have here. So your first boss in the Void's Edge is going to be Warlord Nyx. Now, he has a little bit of an issue where if you bring him down to 80% health, he's going to summon some enemies. Now, normally this wouldn't be that much of a problem, but if you can get him what I like to call in like a sort of animation cycle here, then you're going to be able to deal a massive amount of damage without really having to worry too much. And we're just going to wait for him to jump down here so that way I can kind of show you what exactly I mean by that. And he's going to shoot rockets at me and things like that. So now he's jumped down. Go ahead and throw a shield at him. So this is exactly what I'm talking about here. Is he's just going to keep trying to summon enemies over and over and over again. And now he's dead. And you can kind of see how his health pretty much evaporated once I was able to actually get damage on him. Now these bosses can drop a variety of gear and things like that, and every single boss does have a set legendary item that you can get. So bosses do drop unique loot, and if you want to try and get that loot, you're going to have to run through this campaign a couple of times. I was able to get both of the legendary gear from the boss here and the final boss, I want to say, in about 15 attempts. Now, honestly, that's not that bad, considering that in this game, you really only have to get the gear one time. Unlike Borderlands, where, you know, you kind of kept going back over and over again because, you know, you leveled up and you want to get the higher level gear. Here, you just kind of have to get it one time. Now, it can have different rolls on it, which means it's not as strong as it could be in certain stats, so if you want a perfect roll, then yeah, you're going to have to do this a couple of times. Now, our next ability here is going to be either Last Light, Anti-Hero, or the Pact. Anti-Hero is the clear choice here because, well, Galilea does a lot of damage, and being able to increase her attack speed, well, it's kind of ridiculous how fast she swings here. And I'm not sure if you can really tell the difference, but it's a lot, especially once you start getting more and more gear, which we're going to go ahead and pick up the Warblade. So we've got basically effectively a 60% attack speed increase here. And as long as you can keep yourself corrupted, then you can have this sort of major attack speed. And we haven't really gone over the whole corruption mechanic that Galilea has. So let's go over that now. Corruption is an ability that she gains whenever you would deal damage to an enemy or use your abilities. And we're going to go ahead and pick up some gear here. There we go. So whenever you hit something with your shield, whenever you use Desecration, things like that, or you use your ultimate ability, you will gain what is called Corruption. And you can find that on a purple bar. So as you can see there, you've got 3 tiers of corruption. And once you've hit that 3rd tier, you are considered corrupted. Now what this corruption does is, because I have anti-hero, it'll increase my attack speed. But normally, corruption will deal a small amount of damage to everything around you, while also healing you for a small amount as well. This isn't a life leech, this is just a deal damage, well, and heal for a set amount. It's not healing you based on your damage, it's just like, I hit an enemy, heal for 2 type thing. So it's a very small minor heal, but it does actually deal a little bit of damage there, and it's kind of nice. The reason they have it there is so that way you can kind of keep your corruption up as you are, you know, just walking around enemies. So now that we've kind of gone over her corruption ability, let's go ahead and take a look at what else we've unlocked. We've got the Dark Age or Forsaking Others. Now, Galilea's Great Shield is a very interesting asset of hers. If you really don't need to have to block, you're better off just kind of throwing your shield off to the abyss. And I know that's going to sound really weird to say, but Galilea is a very defensive, offensive character. If you don't need your shield, you actually gain a variety of buffs by not having your shield. In fact, we're going to have it right now. So you've got Mirror Knight, which when you block anything with your shield, there's a chance you could reflect the damage, or Duelist, where you gain increased damage when you don't have your Great Shield. We're going to go ahead and take Duelist here. Now, a strategy I have is to literally just throw my shield away. That may sound weird, but whenever you hit enemies with your shield, you know, you can reduce the cooldown of it, and I don't want to do that. Most of the time, I just want to have the increased damage. Now, this is going to, depend entirely on what kind of group makeup you have. If you have a healer that's willing to, put up with the extra damage that you're going to take, because you're not going to have this sort of, oh shit, I need to block the damage button, which I can kind of show off here. This thing will absorb up to 1,000 damage, which is a lot, and will save you in most situations whenever you overextend yourself. But if you're willing to get rid of that ability and you just want the extra damage and you can keep up with the healing, then it's definitely an option for you. Just make sure you let people know ahead of time, like, hey, I'm going to be throwing my shield away because I want the extra damage, which that's pretty much all I do. So that's really going to be dependent on your playstyle there. You can use the shield in order to stun enemies and sort of mess with them there. Okay. So we've gone over pretty much everything about Galilea. We've got her skills, we've got her corruption ability, and we've got the various playstyles. Now, what about our ultimate? We haven't really touched too much on that. Well, the ultimate that Galilea has really isn't that much to talk about. The ability itself is it allows you to go underneath the ground and heal yourself. The idea behind this ability is a sort of panic button. A ability that, when used, allows you to just kind of, get out of a tight situation. Which is why I'm usually okay with just throwing my shield away. Is because if I get in a situation where basically I need to... If I get in that kind of situation where I'm going to die, usually I'll just hit the ultimate. Now, the ultimate does actually have a little bit of startup time, so that's something to keep in mind there. But that's pretty much Galilea in a nutshell, and what you can kind of expect from her. And now we're going to just kind of finish up this whole campaign here. So let's go ahead and take a minute to kind of talk about the actual campaign. Now, during the previews, this is kind of where the game ended. You didn't really get to see too much beyond this actual point here. And going back to it, we now have a variety of skills here. We've got Blight Down, which will increase the effect radius by 50%. The Black Wind Howls, which will give you movement speed. Or an Inescapable Fate, which will slow down enemies. We're going to go ahead and go for the mutation here and increase the actual effect radius, because I want to be able to cover basically this entire area with my Desecration. Now, if I was in a PvP environment, I would probably go for the slowdown so enemies couldn't really walk out of it and things like that, but we're not really in the PvP section. But after this section is usually where it ended up ending here, and you got to see this giant ice guy. Now, you will be fighting him, but not exactly in this campaign. You're going to get a chance to experience him later on. And the boss fights have been rather interesting, I gotta say. I guess I should have kind of explained what exactly these things I'm picking up here are. So, throughout this entire campaign, you're going to see these little canisters that can give you a variety of buffs. These buffs last about, I want to say about 30 seconds or so. They're pretty useful. One can give you a speed increase. One is a cooldown reduction. You've got an overshield, a helix bonus, which is just a straight up level up, which is really nice. And you've got extra lives. In the top left there, right above Wolf's health, you can see the red little 7 there. That's how much health you have. Or rather, lives you have. If you die, you're going to expend one of those lives, giving it sort of this arcade feel, which I kind of like. And then on the right of it, you're going to have your score. Now, your score is based on how many enemies you kill and these little blue things that you pick up. If you pick those up, you get 100 extra score. I don't believe doing challenges also increases your score. I haven't really been paying attention. Hey, why don't we do it right now? Why don't we go ahead and do that right now? So you're going to get more score by playing with more people because you're going to have more enemies to kind of deal with there. I don't even know if we have 20 things to pick up right now. Ooh, got some rare gear. Neat. There we go. So it doesn't look like we got any extra score. But hey, you're able to get rare gear and credits from doing these challenges, which is kind of nice. And then you've got these crystals over here that you can kind of mess with. Now, normally in this section, you're supposed to defend the wolf unit and things like that, but I'm not going to do that this time. I'm not going to do that at all. What I'm going to do is actually just run ahead and yeah, we're just going to kind of ignore all of this right now. So at level 9, we're going to have Tide Churner or Defender's Dare. Now, considering that for the most part, I just throw my shield either for a damage boost or to get from one area to the next, we're going to go for the increased movement speed from hitting an enemy with our shield. And again, I'm supposed to be defending Wolf right now. I'm not going to because, well, I'm going to just go ahead and activate the boss here. There's a whole bunch of consumables around this arena that you could pick up if you really wanted to, but we are in normal mode, so it's not that much of an issue. And there we go. So now it's time for the boss fight, which is against the Conservator. Now this boss really is not that difficult, especially since 1, we are in normal mode, and 2, the boss needs a little bit more tuning in advanced difficulty. Now, I know a lot of people have been asking, like, what's the difficulty in Battleborn? You can expect a pretty sizable challenge by playing in advance, but don't expect anything too crazy as it stands now. I want to make it very clear that the game basically is going to be still, you know, balanced a little bit. The actual game is finished, but there's a few tweaks here and there that they will be making. I mean, they have no problem with making, you know, changes on the fly. Like, for example, Toby got a little bit of a balance change once he had, you know, a completely broken ability found where he was able to basically kill an enemy sentry from the other side of the map. I may end up putting a video up of that because I did record it, even though it was kind of fixed. It's still kind of hilarious to see things like that. But I like the variety in these boss fights. You know, it's a lot. It makes me feel good for the future of Battleborn. If you heard about the interview, there is the potential of having things like a boss rush and stuff like that in Battleborn, which is going to hopefully be kind of cool here. So moving out of that little void phase, you pretty much just keep wailing on this boss. It really can't put up much of a fight right now, because you're going to just deal enough damage. It's going to go immune. You kill the little sentries that are giving it a shield, yada, yada, yada. Bing, da, bang, boom. Now, if you end up taking too long to kill these shielders, I'm actually going to show this off here. If you take too long to kill these shielders, she's going to start channeling this sort of void ability. And that's going to start growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. You see? That's going to start dealing damage to you, and it's sort of like a mini enrage, but you've got plenty of time to kill these things. I mean, they don't have that much health at all. And if you are in a, you know, a co-op environment, then you can just have each person take over a certain section. But anyway, this has pretty much been the overview for Galilea, the overview for this character. I didn't really get a chance to hit level 10 since, you know, there's that, but honestly, level 10 really isn't that much to talk about. It's just a modifier for her ultimate ability, which all it does is it's like, hey, increase the radius or become fully corrupted. So I could hit my ability and become fully corrupted, but that's not really that much of an issue because it doesn't take that much to become corrupted. So there's that. Oh, and we got some green gear. Neat. Oh, I'm just off from hitting level 10. There we go. So I can become fully corrupted, or I can have 100% movement speed in an area of effect radius. So now I can move really fast when I'm moving all around.
You're gonna have to tell me where the death march is when I get back.
Cool. Go get it, Wolf.
Oh my god, you guys, we did it. We saved Bliss, a majestic frozen hellscape. Oh man, I am so happy. I hate this planet. But at least the Varelsi won't be claiming it. Stand by for extraction.
All right. And don't worry, you get those credits. If you miss any, it'll just auto-collect into your body after you're done. So we got our final score here, which isn't anything too crazy because, well, we skipped a lot of enemies, so our medal isn't going to be that great. Now, the amount of experience that you get at the end of a match is going to be based on your medal, and your medal is going to be based on your score. So there's that. Anyway, that's pretty much all that I have for you today for Galilea. I hope you all enjoyed the video. I'll be going over a brief overview of each of these characters, and then once I have pretty much everything about them unlocked, I'll be doing the full in-depth view of each of these characters. But for right now, this has just been kind of a brief overview of what you can expect from the character and a little bit of gameplay to go along with it. If you enjoyed these videos, be sure to, do me a quick favor. Go ahead and hit the like button. I would greatly appreciate it. And yeah, I will catch you all in the next one, everybody. Later.